because they're getting killed.
Come out of there.
The buy and holders, the buy and holders that got in way up here and now it's all the way down here and they haven't been buying and selling. They're not
But
accumulating or anything. They're just sitting on all that inventory way up
no, you
there.
wouldn't. Let's say she was bad as shit.
And now the price is all the way down at the bottom and they're just like, and it's going lower and they're freaking out, so they just want to dump everything. I mean, they show that stuff on TV. They're telling us how many, how much money has, how many people have bailed. And it's like, great, who's buying it while they're selling it?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
There's
So,
got to be a buyer if there's a seller. It's
yeah,
like who wouldn't want to buy Microsoft at $50, when it was at $500 a few months ago? I'd buy it, I'd load up at $50. And that's basically, if you do the percentages, that's basically what's going on. These cryptos have dropped ridiculously low, and it's what an opportunity of a lifetime. What a gift, you know.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah,
you don't even know who I am. I was not even
I
introduced.
know. Let's get started, you
I'll
guys.
let
So
you start.
yeah, we're having a little pre-chat before I hit record, and I'm like, this is good stuff, Ed. Let's hit record and we'll get started. So anyway, but first I want to start because we're gonna have some people on today that are from some of my meetup communities as well that are interested in AI and data as it applies to, autonomous trading and fintech and all this great stuff and wealth empowerment. So there's a lot of good people here today and current users. So I'm sure we'll hear from those guys as well. And so I just want to start because some of you may not know who I am. I'm Francine Lumiller, and I spent actually close to 20 years in trading. I traded stocks for large hedge funds and mutual funds for a lot of years, and also did some institutional sales trading. And I always said if I went back to that space, it would be to help the individual investor, because I just saw from inside out how the little guys kind of like railroaded over. They don't care about you out there. And so fast forward, when blockchain crypto came around, I dived in probably about 5 years ago. Just really am passionate about that. And that's why we're here today. So I just in the process over my years, I experimented with a lot of different bots because I am a market technician, but I don't have any desire to stare at charts with all my screens and trade and do all that stuff. And the bots that I was trying they didn't have the built-in money management. I couldn't just set it and forget it and walk away. You have to tweak things. You run out of money, they get an error message and freeze up, and you think you're trading, you're not. So I didn't have a great experience with that. And I was introduced to Ed about a year and a half ago through a good friend and a crypto mentor friend of mine, and tested out his system, and it was just what I was looking for. So here we are today, and Ed and I have been hosting these Zooms together for probably a little over a year and just having a good time. So Ed is super passionate, so you're going to hear from him. I'm going to give a little intro about him as well, and then he'll share about the technology, the auto trader, and do some demos and answer everybody's questions at the end. You can type your questions in the chat as well, but we will have a really great Q&A at the end. So first of all, Ed, just thank you so much for being here, because I like to give a spiel about you so people understand who we have here with us today, because Ed Barsano actually started out as a Navy programmer. Initially is how he got his start for about 8 years in the Navy, Ed.
Yes.
I keep thinking that you have the magic number 8 in some of your employment. So then you worked for the federal government.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 years in nuclear engineering. You
It's
did
about
that.
how long I can stand one company and then you got to move on.
Exactly, exactly. So I know when you worked for the government in nuclear engineering, you're doing some pretty remarkable stuff and cranking out like had what 100 programs in 2 years, working 20-hour days as a head engineer over there.
During the
And,
shipyard freeze, when they were freezing overtime, I was the only one still working overtime and
oh
nobody
my
said
gosh.
stop.
Yeah. So, well, that brought you to Microsoft. So you were one of the first 350 programmers at Microsoft. I know you were there for 8.5 years as well, as a software engineer. And when you left, though, you were a worldwide operations manager with over 300 people below you. And, I know your responsibilities went through the roof. You had a pile of stock options they
That
kept
was
giving you.
fun.
It was, it was a lot of fun, but I know you
Lots
were,
of projects.
yeah, lots of projects, but you were getting bored, and that's when you left Microsoft. You're able to retire at the ripe old age of 39, and um, that was about the time everybody was in the tech markets. So were you. And 2000 hit, the dot-com crash, and Ed lost about 60% of his net worth. And that's when he set out to develop this auto trader. He was like, you mess with the wrong guy. I'm going to show everybody this is just numbers going up on the screen, going up and down on the screen. And you set out on your mission. And I'm grateful that you did. So let's hear about it. Let's start out. I know that you initially created this auto trader for stocks. Initially, you were giving it away for free to your friends and family. You grew. You had E-Trade, Ameritrade, all the online brokers reaching out to you to get API connections to your software. You had 10 screens of what I know you'll say that people can blow themselves up of, and I know this myself because of all the technical indicators, but you threw all of that into the AI and simplified it when you went cloud-based, about 4 years ago for crypto. So let's just dive right in and talk about this auto trader. Where
Cool.
would you like to start?
Yeah, I'm game. Well, I want to start by correcting a few things you said.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And thank you for inviting me to speak to your audience too, Francine. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You said 60% of my wealth. To me, it was 60% of a number on a screen.
Yeah.
That didn't mean anything. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of money, but it was just a number that went 60% smaller than what it was. So it wasn't as detrimental as you'd probably think. You think, oh my God, all those millions disappeared. It was a number. The number went smaller. I don't know what this, you know? It's
Yeah.
not like I was going to change my lifestyle, but it did. But I don't like to be robbed. Nobody wants to be robbed. And I just
Mm.
felt I was offended by what they did, the way they pulled that off. That 2000 crash. So that's when I said you picked on the wrong person. I was already retired 5 years. I was bored to death with retirement. I'm a project guy. I like to have a lot of projects in the fire. I want a lot going on. I've got so much going on with automating the market. And if you look at what do I have going on with with GoBabyTrade, is I've got all those servers. So it's more than just what you're looking at on a screen. I've got the servers also to deal with. Failover clusters, backups every hour, load balancing between the servers, automatic load balancing. There's a lot going on the hardware side, and it's fun. It's fun doing all that stuff. And not outsourcing all of it. You know what I mean? I don't outsource anything. I learned over the last 25 years, don't give it to other people. They can't do it better than I can do it. And they're doing it for millions of people, like that AWS, what was that Amazon thing that crashed a few months ago? People were sending me emails saying, hey, how did that affect you? I'm like, it didn't affect me at all. I'm not using them. I mean, I can do
Yeah.
what they're doing, in my ecosystem.
Yeah.
So,
I know you
we
have,
manage all our own servers. Pardon me?
yeah. You and your son, Steve, I know you guys have backups
Yeah.
upon backups, and it's just like, yeah.
Steven's like a savant, man. I watch him on his computer. I'm like, dear Lord, I just sit next to him. I mean, we program next to each other a lot, and sometimes I'll just stop programming and I'm looking at him. I'm like, dear God, Steven. I watch him go and I'm like, wow. I
So
mean, we're
Ed,
a
talk.
really great father-son team. The other
Yeah.
thing you mentioned about when I gave it away free, you mentioned friends and family. I gave it away to everybody free. The
Mm,
software was literally free for like 5 years. I was just giving it away to everybody. I was just building. I was just, we were sharing and I was automating everything they wanted. I wanted, because I didn't know anything about the market either. I was just in all the tech stocks in the
mhm,
90s and they were all going straight up. So I didn't need to know anything. But after that crash, I said, wow, I guess I got to get control of this market. But I don't know enough. So let's just give away auto traders for free, fully automated. And I was talking to everybody, man. I was just on the phone all day long talking to people. And I was
mm.
automating everything they asked for. I can't do that nowadays, obviously, but back then, every time somebody would say, "Here's my strategy," I'm like, "All right, I will automate that for you." But now I didn't realize they're automating losing strategies, right? So I had 10 screens. If any of you remember my old system, some of you must have been there, you know, because it was there for 18 years before I sold that company. It was downloadable software. And you couldn't run this auto trader that I have now on your computer. Even that version of the program was too big. People were complaining that they couldn't even go into their email while my program was running because I was using too much of their PC resources. And this program now is way bigger, and it's got multiple programs feeding it, multiple servers feeding it. So this your auto trader is technically running on a bunch of servers because all those other servers are providing the data that your auto trader is using. So your auto trader is just running like the ever ready bunny rabbit. And you know, just all it's got to do is chase money. You can see all it's doing. Your rules that you're looking at are just nothing more than money management. You see that. And the rest of all the stuff that feeds it, the AI and everything, the AI alone runs on 4 servers by itself. You couldn't even run that on one computer.
Mhm.
So, you know, so back then I gave everyone everything they wanted, and then and that's how I really learned. I learned a lot. I learned not only what works, but mostly I learned what doesn't work. And what's nice about programming, and you can think of yourself, if you without a program, if you're day trading, what are you doing? You go to make a trade. How many rules are you really thinking about when you made that trade? How many rules did you just violate when you made that trade? Sometimes you actually execute a trade and you know you're violating some of those rules, and you go, I'm going to still buy it. That's the beauty of it. I mean, because I know I was doing it too, you know. Sometimes you go, you know, I know that, you know, that stochastic is saying it's not bullish, but I'm gonna still do it. You know, and you know, so anyways, you know, and what's nice about programming is the program never violates a rule. That's what I love about it. And as you learn, as I learned watching the corruption in the market, boy, you hate to say use that word corruption. I don't want to call it corruption. Let's change that. This is the first time to actually thinking about this. I was thinking about it earlier, actually, earlier this week. It's not really what you would call corruption. Well, some of it is. The level 2 screen where they're putting fake numbers in there, that's corruption. Where somebody says the best bid and the best ask is the lowest ask price and the highest bid price. Now you got a lot of prices above the lowest ask price, but you got I'm willing to sell at this price. Another person says, "Well, I'm willing to sell, but I want more." And another one says, I want more." And so you're getting further away from the lowest ask price. You got people saying, "I'm willing to sell Microsoft at $550 a share when the current price is 500." Even though it's not going to get there, it's still up there. That order, that's part of your level 2 screen. But now when somebody puts the lowest ask price as 2 shares, or 100 shares of a coin, when you're trading in 10,000 share lots, that lowest ask price is baloney.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, when you see the best bid and the best ask on your screens, when they show you prices on TV and everything, you're looking at the lowest ask price. Well, that's a fake number. If you
Mhm.
actually try to buy that coin based on the amount of shares you're going to buy, you're going to end up paying a higher price because in order to get those 10,000 shares you want, those 300 shares there plus another 700, that's 1,000, plus another 2,000 shares this guy's offering, and you got to keep going until you get to the 10,000 shares that you want to buy. And then what is
Mhm.
that price? Because that's what you got to look at. And that's what the
And
auto trader actually keeps track of. Now, so I say those guys with the putting fake limit orders out there saying I'm willing to sell at this price with a real small number, that's fake. That's corruption. I call that corruption. But a lot of other people are just doing things that they're taking advantage of the public. The fact that you floated a limit order in public view, you said, I'm willing to sell my shares at this price. And well, a whole room full of professional traders is going to say, well, I'll just sell mine right under him.
Yeah.
And then you notice they're buying and selling constantly right under your goal price, and it doesn't want to go to your goal. It doesn't want to go to your price, and you
That's the
wonder
level.
why not. Sometimes you'll see a price going up, 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 and you think, all right, it's going to hit me, and it doesn't, and it stops, and then it starts going down. It's because they dried up all the buyers. Why should I pay a higher price if I could buy it at a lower price? So I actually watched that in a day trading house. I was watching the professional traders trade, how they were trading. They were literally telling me, sell it right under that guy. And
Yeah.
that's what thousands of them are doing. They're taking advantage of the public who floats limit orders in public view. We don't float anything in public view. Your auto trader is tracking everything internally. So
And
we
it's,
don't need to float the order out there.
yeah.
So yeah, so now, would you call that corruption what they're doing? I don't want to call it corruption, but I would say they're taking advantage of,
Yeah. A
because
little
they have
manipulative.
knowledge that a lot of people don't have, and that's one of the things.
Well, let's just jump right in and
That
tip
as far
people
as
out.
corruption, I wouldn't call it corruption.
Yeah. A little
So
manipulation, a little falsity.
yeah, well, it's taking advantage of the public, and the public is, and then there's a lot of psychology going on. The public doesn't understand the market. A buy and holder will buy something up here and put all their money in up here. And that's
Hmm.
another bad thing to do, because the price drops 70%. And now in order for them to even get even, it's got to go up 70% to hit that what they went in at.
Right.
Whereas you see how we trade, we're adding more as it's going lower, but it's wiggling. It's going up and it's going down and it's going up, and it's every up. Every time you see one of those upticks, that's profit. Now
Hmm.
something's happened lately. I was talking to someone, and he said, "How come my auto trader? I see this price on the screen went up 14%, or went down 14% over the last week, and my auto trader isn't buying. Why did it go down 14% when I say it's got to go down 3%?" All right? So basically, I'm talking to a lot of the existing clients. You might have that question. How come I look at the screen and it shows the price went down 14% today, but my auto trader didn't buy? Well, it can't be. That 3% drop can't be 3% of the price of your trade, of your last trade, because that number, 3%, is going to be a decreasing number, because the price is lower, and 3% of a smaller number, it's just going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, the gap in
Hmm.
in price. That drop is like, in order to get a like we say, a 3% drop times 25 lots deep, 3 times 25 is a 75% drop. That's if it was a fixed number. But
Hmm.
if it's, so we have to base it on where you first went into the coin and look at 3% of that number, whatever that number is, it's got to go that much going down. So that's one thing, that's why I always tell people, click on the plus. Do you mind if I share my screen real fast?
Go ahead, Ed. Let's
Is
dive
that
in.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. If I bring up my trader here, I always tell people you got to click on the plus, so that you don't just look at the amount, the numbers here, today's move. Click on the plus, so that I'm going to click minus on this filled orders to make it bigger, so that I can see here. I'm adding on 3% drops, but yet you can see it's already down 5.63 of that since I bought that coin. However, the current price, let's see, current ask price is 010, and it's saying here it's going to add to the decliner at 00997. So it's still not low enough to buy yet. So even though, so you can't always just go by this over here. You got to go by this here, you know, because this is what it's really got to drop to. And the same thing with the selling. It knows the target profit is over here, the price is 0.0119, and it's currently only at, you're going to sell on the bid, so its current bid is 01, it's only at 010, and it's got to go to 0119, almost 012. So that's why, you know, and I literally almost every day have to try to point people to, you know, you see that plus over there, you got to click it. Because that's what's going to tell you what it's really buying and what your next buy and what your next sell is going to be. This isn't a black box. We're not hiding anything from you, but you actually got to go to the screen to look at it, to expand it and see, to see how much you're actually up or down on an individual lot. And then another thing that happens for those of you buy and holders who have checked, let me check this box here. Whereas some people are doing this, they have Bitcoin is a perfect example. Let me put Bitcoin in here just for a second. As long as I don't save the screen, I can make all the changes I want here. It won't affect anything. Now what happens is you're buying, but they uncheck the allow sell. So then they'll say the same thing. Bitcoin went from 120 all the way now down to 100, right? And someone will say, well, it's gone down so much. How come it's not buying more? Well, you uncheck the allow sell. So what they don't realize is you bought it at 100 and you've been buying it all the way up because it's adding to the advancer here, adding to price advances. So you've been buying it all the way up. Buy, all the way to 120. And now it's on its way down, but you already own it at all those prices. You bought it on the way up. So you already own it at those prices. So you're not going to buy it again at the same prices. So again, that's where you can, you know, if you go here, you can just click on a symbol. I'll click on a different symbol just for the heck of it. Dogecoin. See, Doge is the same thing. It's saying that the price has to go to 15.8 cents. And the current price, the current ask, because you buy on the ask, is up here at the top. Current ask is 16 cents. So it's got to go down just a little bit more before it buys it. Even though I'm adding on 3% drops, but the 3% drops is based on when you first went in, going down, not from the last buy that you did. I mean, this is sophisticated stuff. That's why somebody says, hey, can't I just go ahead and put limit orders and do this and that? And I'm like, nah, you're going, you know, I got a kick out of one guy. I was sitting on this Chase. I guess that's this couch over here. It's called a Chase. I was sitting on that a few days ago, and I was talking to somebody on the phone, and he said, I want to create my own auto trader. I said, well, how old are you? And he goes, I'm 40. I said, okay, well, when you're 65, you'll be where I am today. Now, the beauty is I had a lot of people helping me, so I could see a lot of stuff that was wrong of what they're doing, and I could counter it, make sure that we don't fall into these traps and all the corruption and misinformation going on in the market. Whereas you're not going to see all that stuff. You know how you're going to learn it? If you try to do it yourself, all by yourself in a vacuum, you're going to have to lose all your money and then try something else and lose your money again, and then try something else and lose your money again, you know, because you don't even know all the things that you don't know what you don't know. Whereas I got lucky. I had God on my side, and I had thousands of people running auto traders, and I could see everything that was wrong and say, wow, get rid of all that. You know, get rid of all that stuff that's wrong, and let's do just what makes the money, you know, and chasing the money. And we realized chasing the money was the answer. Trapping the market at the lowest prices, because when it goes lower and you buy, you've just trapped the market at that price. for the whole world, the price can't go higher. If they try to wiggle it higher, you take money. And that's where you get your, your daily profits. Like on the fourth down here on the lower right here, I took $130. Thank you for the free money, I call it. On the fifth, it had two trades, 280 and another 149, almost 150 on that trade. They were up, couple up days there, so we took some money. We're constantly buying, and and this profits, that's this column here, closed positions P&L. This just adds up forever. It never goes down because, we never sell at a loss. So this column just keeps adding, adding, adding. Now the open positions, that's your inventory you're sitting on. That fluctuates with the price of the coin going up and down. So that's just a number going up and down. It's a fixed number, by the way, as far as how far it can go down, because it can only drop 100%. That means the coin just went out of business. That's the worst that can happen. But as long as they stay in business, you're going to just keep pumping you money because every time it goes down, you're buying. Every time it goes up, you're selling. And sell. And the example I have on here, you'll like, some of you have already seen this. The bucket and the well is the perfect example. If you understand the concept of water, how a well works, the bucket has to go to the bottom to get the water and then go all the way back up and dump it out. It can't go halfway down and then go back up. It'll come up with an empty bucket. It's got to go to the bottom and it's got to go to the top to dump it out. But if it's the crypto market or the stock market for that matter, if it goes down a little and you buy and it goes up a little and you sell, you just keep pumping money forever. And it doesn't matter if it goes where you're pumping the money. I could be pumping the money up here at a high price, or it could drop 70% and I'm sitting on all those what you would call losers underwater, each of these. I'm not even worried about those because I'm going to be down here pumping money for the rest of my life. Wherever it goes, I'm constantly pumping money. And every time I get a big rally, like a big day where a coin will jump 20%, watch what happens. When it like if it jumps right now, I sell off all that inventory that I had that is below that price. I can take you to the level 3, the L3. This is just an example on CoinMarketCap to show you what I mean. Like when a coin, I mean, look at all this. I mean, this is beautiful. What a gift. Like someone says, how should I stop trading when the coin's going down so much? And I'm like, no, the biggest money you're going to make is what you bought at the bottom. So this coin dropped all the way down over here. And then it just goes up and you sell off what you bought down there. If it goes up to this point, anything you own below that point sold off. When it did this jump right here, anything you own below that you bought before it, all that inventory, any inventory you like, you might have been sitting on that one, you might have been sitting on that one, because neither of these two went that high before this. So it jumps up here, you sell all that off. Everything you own is gone. Then it goes down crazily and you buy, and then it goes up crazily and you dump it off and take the free money. It's what I talk about the crypto market, the way it moves, the prices. This is what I love about cryptos. In 2000, or just in 2021, as soon as I turned on the crypto trader for the first time, that's when I automated the crypto market. After doing just stocks for 21 years, I saw it right away. And I said, oh my God, I'm done with stocks. Because stock prices move like this, like waves. They go up and they go down. But cryptos jump around. They jump up. I mean, a coin, you wake up in the morning, a coin will be sitting up there 20% higher.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's 20% lower. Or the next 15 minutes. I mean, look at this. Look at that jump right here. That's straight up and then literally straight down instantly. It didn't even wait. It didn't
And
even hang around at all. So you got an auto trader. Sell it all. Sell everything I have. And then it drops right back down. Were you going to say something, Francine?
Yeah, will you talk a little bit as we're looking at this and then back on your other screen too? about the AI and how that plays into your
Well,
buying and
that the AI also, I don't brag about AI. I never have. I've been doing AI since my Microsoft days, since '89,
selling?
and I had it in my original Auto Traders all the time. I never even said anything about it. It was a
Yeah.
button on the screen. You could see it. You could click AI up in the menu on the old system. I don't do it in the new system because, again, too much data. But in the old
Mhm.
system, when it was downloadable on your computer, I was bringing your computer to its knees. And I mean, but it would show all the AI data going, what's going on. And what would happen is when the auto trader says, say the price goes up and you want to take profit now. Take this spike right here, this spike up right here on the left. It's spiked up. Now, normally on these other smaller moves, when it goes up, the software will call the AI, which AI is like it's two-factor authentication. We don't look at it until we need it. So when a price goes higher, it'll call the AI, and the AI will come back and say, "Hold on, don't sell that coin and don't take that profit yet. It's going to go higher." And it can predict that within a 20 to 30 minute window. It could tell within a short term what it's going to do because it's looking at the current ecosystem. It's not looking at what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Anybody that says they do, they're lying. Because if they had that indicator, if I had an indicator that told me what a coin was going to do tomorrow, I'd be richer than Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk all combined. I'd be the richest guy in the world um, if I knew what a coin was going to do tomorrow. But I can tell the AI can tell me within a 20 to 30 minute window of what's going to happen, if it's going to go higher or lower. So when the software sees the profit, the software says, I want to take that profit. It calls the AI. The AI comes back and says, I don't see it going higher. So then the software goes ahead and sells it and takes the profit. Or or the AI comes back and says, hold on, it's going to go higher in the next few minutes. Then the software will hold off and it'll wait and
Mhm.
it'll let it go higher. Same thing on the down. If the price is going lower and the software says I want to buy more now, it'll call the AI, and the AI will come back and say, "No, I don't see it going lower." So then the software will go ahead and buy it. Otherwise, if the AI thinks it's going to go lower, then it'll wait a little bit and then it'll keep calling the AI until the AI gives up, until the AI says, "I don't see it going lower." But if it keeps saying it's going lower, I think you could see it, then the software will hold off. Let's take a look over here. You see these right here? You can see on the 4th. On the 4th, things were really crashing. And right here, you can see the AI. It put the AI added to declining position AI, added to declining position AI, added to declining position AI. So it could see during those periods we were in it could say, hold on, man, don't buy it yet. This coin's going lower. Whereas the other one over here it says added to position um without the AI, then it couldn't see that it was going lower. And it's by symbol, because this one here is at 116 for Shiba Inu, and at 114 or 119, 3 minutes later, Dogecoin said, hold on, it's going lower. And then you can
Yep.
see right after that, what did it do? It took 4 more hours before it sold what it bought. So it bought it.
Mhm.
It bought it at 15 cents, 15.7, and sold it at 16.3.
Yep,
You
that
know,
one lot.
so it's like free money. I call it free money because that was a wiggle. When they went
Mm.
down, the auto trader said, "Fine, I'll buy more now. Now what do you want to do, market? I got you trapped down there. You want to go lower? I'll go lower. I'm the opposite of Hillary Clinton. Hillary says when they go low, we go high. I say no. When they go low, I go low. When they go high, I go high. I go wherever the price goes. So I'm
Yeah.
following that price for the rest of my life. It's almost criminal. I swear it feels criminal. The way we're following this, it's like, what right do I have to attach my trader to a coin and say you're gonna pay me every time you have an uptick? It's
Yeah.
diabolical. But I've been doing it 25 years, so it's not like I created this thing. I mean, really, it's kind of insulting, you know, that anybody would call me a genius when it took me 25 years to figure it out. But it's the
It's
smart water. I drink smart water.
well, let's
Anyways,
explain to people what they're looking at here, because usually you share one of your older traders for when you started back in the end of 2021
I
at
do,
that.
but it's over $1 million, and I don't like to do it.
I know you don't like to share, but so explain then, because I know you added SWFTC Swift later.
Yeah, I only added that one because it's all right.
Yeah, because it
The,
skews it off a little bit, because your four original ones and this one you started more recently, 2023, but when you add a new one, it kind of distorts what we're looking at on return. So yeah, let's just explain to everybody what they're looking at
well,
here.
right here you can see. Well, let me say this about this right-hand side here. You got the open positions inventory. This is how much your open inventory is underwater, right? Like ACH, I'm down 78, almost $79,000 in open inventory that is underwater. That's price owned inventory that is bought at a higher price than where it is now. Okay? However, on the wiggles, I've taken 150,000, 150, just about 151,000 in profits off the table. That's free money for life, and they can never take that back from me because this number never goes down. It only goes higher and higher and higher and higher and higher because I save my profits. I don't just throw it away. What you do with your profits is your choice. You can do whatever you want with it. I don't, you know, you can go out and buy a new car with it. I bought a new Range Rover last year
Let me just tell everybody really quick though that there
with
is,
free money.
yeah, on the left-hand side under current profit save, there is a manage profits button, and you can click on that and save 50%, 100% of your profits. But in your Coinbase will show, it connects to Coinbase or Kraken, and Coinbase will show you your overall market of your value of your entire Coinbase account. So it'll be trading your USDC unless you say only trade a certain amount of it. It'll trade all of your USDC for you. And then
Here,
you can
I'll go to it.
back to the trader, yeah, or you can save profits
You
if
can
you.
see it on your exchange preferences screen here. If I scroll down, um, it shows me I'm connected live to Coinbase.
Mhm.
My account value is 437,843, and that's coming right from Coinbase. I've got almost $200,000 sitting in USDC in
Mhm.
cash.
So
So
that's what
that's
it,
what,
and maybe we
and
should.
you can check, you can say, don't, it says use all available funds. It's using it in your calculation. You can see it's not using it all up. I mean, I've got a whole buttload of cash sitting here, and the coins are all down like 80 and 90% from where they were. I mean, it's a joke because the coins are so low right now, and I've got almost $200,000 of available money still to add more, even if it goes lower. We always have reserve money. See, that's the secret. Most people don't do that. Most people put all their money in. Like
Mhm.
somebody got excited once, they had a $42,000 account. Their auto trader bought $2,000 worth of XRP because they were trading XRP. And then they got excited. They heard some news on or something that, oh, XRP is going to go to the moon. So then they said, oh, great, I'll buy $40,000 worth of XRP manually. And then they call up and say, how come my auto trader's not trading? Well, because your cash went to zero. You used up all your money. So the
Yeah.
auto trader, if you leave the auto trader doing it, it reserves money so that it can trade no matter where the price goes. And that's the secret. That's a big deal because you always want to have reserve money. I mean, that's just money management. I mean, some of us budget, some people budget, some people don't. In their life, that's the way it is. I used to always have a ledger, you know, before I went to Microsoft. Before I got rich, I used to have a ledger that showed my electric bill, my rent, and all the expenses, and how much I was spending month over month on each one. And so I knew where I stood as far as money goes, making sure I have enough money to cover it, you know, to cover each month. But now, of course, I don't do that. Now I have an auto trader that just pumps
Right.
money, just throws money at me like candy.
Well, Ed,
Um,
let's go back. let's look at this. Go back to your the let's talk about, because you mentioned money management. Maybe we should go to the screen with the actual settings so folks can
Mm-hmm.
understand, what the settings that you
Sure.
have access to change, because really 99% of people use this to set and forget. Some people might be
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah. Well, that's what you're going to do. You're going to say let it use all that it has,
Yeah.
because the software is not going to use it all up. It's
And
like right here,
I want
you're
I just wanted to ask real quick, sorry to interrupt again, but on your the Swift, is there a place that says like what date you added that? Because when
I
people are
can.
looking at your returns over time, it's a little bit, because if you started, let's finish with the left column, total
No,
profit.
he's getting killed because this
Mhm.
whole thing right here, what happened was these were all net positive. The difference between the open and the close was net positive, everything a few
Mhm.
months ago. But then they had that meeting in the White House, the crypto summit in the White House in
Mhm.
February. And it was great news. The 25 multimillionaire crypto holders plus Trump, who's sitting on $7 billion worth of crypto, and all those 25 multi-millionaire crypto holders, Trump sent them out on they got their marching orders. Get rid of all regulations holding back the crypto market, right? That's been holding this market down for the last 9 years. And then, so that was good news. And ever since then, all we've heard is good news, good news, good news, good news, good news from all these different companies. All this good news. However, during the whole time, the last 6, 7 months, the market's been the prices have been going lower, 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 lower. Why
Yeah.
is that? You got it psychology here. Why would the prices be going lower when everything is good? Could it be because, even the House and the Senate right now, they don't even want to do any work. They said, let's just freeze the government so we don't have to do any work because we all want to concentrate on our crypto holdings. That's what I think. I think they don't want to do any government work. They just want to concentrate on buying more crypto. Because I think they know that with all this with those 25 multimillionaires who have their marching orders, make crypto great, get rid of all the regulations, make the banks benefit from crypto. That was the genius bill. So the banks can now store crypto. Everything is good about crypto, but yet they keep lowering the price. Now, is it because the whales, the wealthy, want to be able to buy these coins at ridiculously, insultingly low prices? Alchemy Pay, a multi-million-dollar company going for 1 cent. I call that an absolute joke. It was 12 cents 4 years ago. And the company is doing nothing but good, 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 good. They just got another contract in North Carolina. They just added a whole nother country out there that's using them. It's like Apple Pay worldwide. It's like, come on, man. They should be $2 a share, maybe even $20 a share. But 1 cent? So what I believe is the whales are getting the little guy out because every time they lower the price of your inventory, what does it do to your account value? It pushes it down. So you
There's
see a lower account value and you think you're losing. I try to tell people quit looking at that account value. It means nothing because you're going to keep taking profits for the rest of your life. When I even presented this bucket and a whale, I was teaching a class in Raleigh, North Carolina a couple of years ago, and there was a whiteboard. And I saw the whiteboard and I went and I figured, I'm teaching an AI class, but I'm going to go a whole room full of very smart, intelligent people. I'm going to go ahead and draw this picture of this bucket and a well. And I asked the audience, I said, if the bucket goes from the top to the bottom and gets water and goes back up and dumps it out, and it repeats that for the rest of your life, come down, get the water, go up, dump it out, and just keep doing that. How much water can it pump? They were saying 1 million gallons. They were throwing numbers out. 1 billion gallons, 1 trillion gallons. And I'm looking at the room while they're throwing when I hear these numbers, and nobody's objecting to anything. So that's when I said, well, what if it's the crypto market and the price just goes down a little and it buys and it goes up a little. I didn't say it goes to the bottom, didn't say it goes to the top. Just wiggle, just tip down, up, give me money, down, up, give me money. how much money can it pump if it does that for the rest of my life? How much money can it pump in a lifetime? And then the room went silent. And I'm watching. I'm like looking at people, come on, how much money can it pump in a lifetime? And then I heard one guy in the audience goes, there's no way that could be real. I love it because it's like, why wouldn't that be real? Because it is real. There's no reason it wouldn't be real. There's nothing, there's no game here. It's no trick. The market's just free money, and everybody, and me included, for many, many years, I had this delusion that the whole stock market's this complicated thing. Because you see those guys on TV, right? You know, they're on there, they got their suits on, their ties, the talking heads, you know? And they're just, and they talk, talk, talk. Nobody ever tells you how to make any money. You know, they're all just, you know, well, yes, you know, the market crashed today, and then they make up a reason, an excuse. But for some reason that excuse went away the very next day when the market rallied. You know, it's just baloney, you know? And so you spend your whole life thinking that you're in Las Vegas when you're investing, and it's like you don't need to be treating it like Vegas. This is just free money when it's done right. And that's what I automated. I automated
Yeah.
something that's just going to crank out money till you die. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. I didn't invent commerce. 7-Elevens have been around forever, right? And you know, you buy some they buy something, they buy stuff from distributors, they put it on the shelf, and they sell it at a higher price. Isn't that what we're doing? We buy it and then we sell it at a higher price. And with proper money management, we could buy it all the way to the bottom. We don't care where the price goes. Whereas most people, they go all in up here and the price goes down here and then they're dead. They're praying, oh God, please go back up. You know, and they're hurting right now. People that like even this coin here, like Alchemy Pay, was at 12 cents 4 years ago. If you went all in at 12 cents and it's sitting at 1 cent, you got to wait for that coin to go all the way back up to 12 cents. And what happens? And then every day or every week nowadays, you're watching the coin go lower and lower and lower. I mean, just a few weeks ago, that was 2 cents. Now it's at 1 cent. And I'm telling you, they're driving the little guy out. They're driving the amateur out. They're driving all the people that are underwater already, that are dying, that are just not making anything. They haven't made a penny. It's kind of like if you bought, now a few years ago, silver was at $22 an ounce, and then it went all the way down to $11. So, and then it comes all the way back up to $22. So when it went from 11 all the way back to 22, that silver dollar you had in your drawer, it's still sitting in a drawer. You didn't make anything. It went from, you
Right.
bought it at 22, it went down to 11, then it went back up to 22, and you didn't make anything. But if you were trading SLV in the stock market with an auto trader, you would have been buying and selling SLV on 2 or 3% moves up and down, all the way down to 11, and then all the way back up. You'd have been buying and selling it again on the way back up. You would have
Yeah. So,
easily doubled your money, you know, instead
yeah.
of letting it just sit. So that's the thing, you know, buy and hold is not where it's
I
at.
asked the
So
question because everybody wants to know, you know, what kind of returns we're seeing monthly and over time. And we can never, you know, we take what the market gives, but I'm going to start saying that the longer somebody has this auto trader set up, then just the more, and we are
it's
not
just going to
investment
keep going
advisors,
higher and higher.
financial brokers. And let me just get the disclaimer out there. This is a software tool. Do your own research, talk with your financial
Sure.
advisor. Absolutely. I'm just sharing a tool that I love and that Ed obviously, you know, he doesn't need to be selling auto traders anymore. He's very passionate
Oh, I
about
love it. Sure I
in
do.
the
Otherwise,
tool.
what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do with my time?
Yeah, it's easier to compare in your other traders that you haven't added a position like from 2021 until, you know, 2025 where we are without you making any changes, fully automated. That's what it looks like. So, but this is, you know, now with this one's from 2023, you guys can get an idea of what that looks like. But
Sure.
let's get to the screen because we're 10 minutes before 2 and I want to respect everybody.
No.
Let's do go
Well,
over all of the
what I was going to show is this
yeah.
highest trade count report. Now,
Mhm.
first, I want to say if I always talk about this report, I'd say if you were going to open up a 7-Eleven, I've never done it, but I always imagine how it would work. You'd get your building, you'd have your parking, you'd get the refrigeration put in, you'd get the shelves. Then at some point you're going to sit down with a distributor, because I don't think you're going to talk to each person that produces each item in that store that you're selling in the 7-Eleven. I think you're going to talk to a distributor that's going to handle all that, because you're not going to deal with 1,000 different vendors. And they're going to come up with a list of, here's all the products we have. Okay, you can sort it alphabetically. This is the highest trade count report. You can go right on our website and see it. You can even click on the symbol name, and it'll take you right to that coin's website and tell you what it is they do. Okay, so you can research that. But what we care about is, I want the items, the previous year's close. It shows the 3-month, the 6-month, the 9-month, and a 12-month trades. Closed trades, physical money in your hand. 1,239 trades in the last 12 months, the trailing 12 months, right? And then, so that's the biggest mover. Now, if this is a 7-Eleven, I'd call it like my monster drinks. And maybe the next one down would be vapes. Next one down might be potato chips. Give me the items that move the most, right? And then I've never seen this report, such a thing, but I'm imagining that I want to put the stuff that moves the most on my shelves in my store. And if I go to the bottom, you know, this is where you get your junk, that 16 trades in a year, 17 closed trades profitably. And these are things that just don't even move. Some of them are, well, I'm not even sure what those were, but here, 107 trades in a year. That's, the ones we trade do 10 times that, over 10 times. And so the junk is at the bottom. And if this was a 7-Eleven, I'd call that the Band-Aids. The Band-Aids, I don't know, Lysol, whatever. The junk that you don't want to put on your shelf, too much of that, because you're not going to sell any of it. Nobody's going to buy Lysol anymore. I can't imagine going to a 7 and saying, where's your Lysol? They do have Band-Aids. I did find them once in a little bitty corner. I did find Band-Aids. So you know what was funny? Somebody a few weeks ago, or a week ago, not even a few weeks, he said, you know what, Ed? You always talk about 7-Eleven and the biggest moving items and how you want to trade the biggest, how you want to put the biggest moving items on your shelf. Well, he said, here's the actual report. There's the 7-Eleven report. It actually shows you the items, just what I've been describing, but I never saw a report because I never had a 7-Eleven. It was just common sense. Coffee, all sizes, Monster drinks, Red Bull. I mean, they put the top moving item, bottled water.
Hilarious, Ed.
They literally listed, there's your hot dogs. I love it. I love it. He said, now, one of my clients sent that to me, and he said, now instead of just guessing about how it works, you can actually look at how it works. You can see the biggest moving items in the right order. And I think he looked at line 856, Band-Aids, line 857 iodine. I think he added those two. But you get the idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You want the biggest moving items, and we provide that. So that's why I added Swift. Swift and SPA are the number 1 and 2 coins all year. They've been just going back and forth. SPA takes the number 1 spot, then Swift takes the number 1 spot. Month over month. These two have been just sitting up here at the top the whole time, because even though their numbers have declined a lot, averaging 65 trades in a month right now, if you look at 84 trades in the last 3 months, if I look at the months, here's July, August, and September. If I add up those trades, those 3 months, that adds up to 84 trades. So if I added up 6 months worth of those monthly trades, it would be 272. If I add up 12 months, the last 12 months, I get 1239. So even though some of these numbers have gone down in these coins, all the coins have experienced the slowdown. It's the whole crypto market. Anytime you think that a coin is down, don't think to yourself, I'm down, I'm down. No, the world is down. Everybody's down. It is what it is. If Microsoft goes from $500 a share to $50 a share, and that's what this is equivalent to. Some of these crashes are equivalent to a coin dropping that much, 90%. And it's like, it's just so the whales can load up at the very, very bottom. They want to make this the biggest payday ever. And anywhere you go, if you talk about cryptos to anybody out there, they're all running scared. You can do your own surveys. I do it. I go to when I'm in Quest Diagnostics, I throw it right out there. I'm not bashful. Hey, anybody want to talk crypto? I throw that. And the whole room either gets quiet and looks the other way, or last time I did it, about 3 weeks ago, everybody started laughing, and I started laughing with them like it was all a big joke. And I'm like, whoa, they are out of it, man. They are out of it. And that just tells me the rich are going to get richer, and the little guy's going to just go back to his job when this
Let's go to
market takes
that top.
off.
Yeah,
Because
let's
we've
go.
been in the last 4 years, this market has been in a downtrend, the crypto market. Watch when that trend turns up. And you know when it's going to turn up? When the whales feel like they've accumulated enough shares. Right now, almost all the crypto is being held by the rich. The little guy's bailing out. The little guy who went in at the top has already sold off at a big loss because he
Yeah.
feels like he's losing, and he doesn't realize where we're going. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for the rally, we continue to take profits. I'm going to take profits forever as long as these are rich companies. GRT gets 2 billion hits a day on their APIs. They're rich beyond. I mean, they're not going away. I'm not worried about them going out of business. Why are they sitting at a nickel a share? These are
Yeah, it's a
not
really
penny stocks. Penny stocks in the stock market are junk companies. These prices here we're treating these like penny stocks, even though they're multi-million-dollar companies.
So let's look at since you went to the menu, let's look at the top trader report too, so I can explain a little
Sure.
bit. People can get an idea. So this report, and sometimes I do quick overviews, like summaries of all the features, and um, somebody in the chat was asking about that. So I'll invite you guys to that when I do that. But this is a great way you can go in and check about people's traders. And Ed, I just want to preface before you explain it is that you do remove all the 6 and 7 figure accounts in here because you don't want
I get
people to
rid of the crazy numbers that
you
are
don't want
just
them to
too
think they have
big.
to have a lot of money you don't have to. You can just come in with a small amount. The returns are going to be the same. It's just if you have 100 grand in there versus, 2 grand in there, obviously your monetary amount monthly will be different, but this will at least give you an idea. And then you can click the view details and see what
Sure.
that traders actually, what they're trading. But I think that's an interesting report too.
Well, yeah. Sometimes some people say to me, how much am I going to make? That kind of stuff. That's completely up to the market. Hey, this last few months, the market has been driving the prices lower. Some people tell me, hey, 5 months ago I was making a lot more every day than I'm making today. Well, that's the market has done that. If you buy a coin and the price goes lower, you're not going to sell it profitably until the price wiggles up a little, 3% up or 3% down. You're buying when it goes down, you're selling when it wiggles. It can't keep going. It doesn't go down, 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 and then go out of business. I used to, when Microsoft was even $30 a share, because I presented all over this country, plus Australia, plus Canada, to audiences, live audiences. Every Saturday, I used to present to a live audience in a different part of the country. I could be in New York one Saturday, the very next Saturday I could be in Miami, and so every Saturday I just had a whole schedule of where I was going to be. Oklahoma, Minnesota, you name it, I was there. And 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 I would say stuff like Bank of America, when Bank of America was sitting at $10 a share. I said, "Do you think Bank of America?" I'd ask the audience, "Do you think Bank of America is going to go out of business anytime soon?" Everybody goes, "No." I said, then trade the hell out of it, man. It's just free money because they can't go to zero. If you're saying they're not going to go out of business, then that means they're just going to do this. And they're just going to keep pumping you money forever. You are running a 7-Eleven without the bricks and mortar. You're putting product on the shelf and you're selling it at a higher price. It's not rocket science. Like I said, I didn't invent commerce. And this notion that if you're winning, somebody else has to be losing, that's not true either. Because unless they're bought it up here and they're selling it down here, then they are losing. But that was on them. Don't blame. That's not because that's how it had to be. If I want a loaf of, if I want to buy bread, I go to the store and I buy a loaf of bread. I benefited because I wanted the bread. The store benefited because they bought bread at a lower price and sold it to me at a higher price. We both won. If everybody in the world was running an auto trader, then we would all be winners because when you're buying, somebody else would be selling, taking their profit. And you'd be buying because it's time for you to buy more. We add to winners and losers, so you could be adding to something that's going higher. Somebody else could be selling it when it's going higher and taking their profit. At that point, you could be adding more at that point. So we got the market coming and going, but we would all be winning. However, most people don't have an auto trader, right? So what happens is the only people getting rich are the wealthy because they're driving the prices lower and they're loading up. But if you have an auto trader, take this guy. He started 1 year ago with $3,178. That's it. That was his account size. He took 15,000 in profits off the table. That's this number here. Closed positions P&L. And that number and somebody made it was funny. Somebody once when I was doing a presentation, let me say that, let me show you something that I thought was funny. Somebody went like this. He said, Ed, look at all the money you took right here, $354,000. And I said, you see right here, this one, total profits taken. I said, I didn't take that. And the guy goes, what are you talking about? It says right here that you took that. And I said, no, I didn't take that. He says, what are you, I was freaking him out, right? He's like, what are you talking about? It shows right there that you took those profits. I said, well, I took $28 and $40. And if I go down, and $49 and $31, and some prices were 100 there, 200 there. This is what I took. I took small amounts and it added up to that. See, that's the thing. If you want to make a lot of money running your 7-Eleven, but you can't jack the price of potato chips to $50 a bag. Nobody's going to buy them. You just got to sell a lot of $4 bags. See what I mean? So sometimes some people's notion of the market is, in order for me to make money, I've got to throw it all in. I've got to be all in. It's like, no, you don't. You don't want to go all in because then if you go all in means you put all your money in at the top. And then when the prices go down here, you don't have any money. You don't have any shares down here because you're out of money. And the price continues going up and down here, but you're not taking any profits. The way the software works is it allocates your funds so that it spreads you out all the way to the bottom. So no matter where the price goes, you're taking money. That's the secret. So back
I
to
would
this
tell people
report.
add this like the conservative, long-term, operating in the background thing for you that's just chugging away, taking profit. So even I just want to say really quick on this report so people know nobody's manually trading. So Ed doesn't put anybody in here that this is all just completely auto
These
trade.
are real, yeah. If you do a manual trade, you disappear. You can't even, you won't even show up in this report. So here, this guy started, a year ago with 9,800, almost 10,000. But he took 20,000 in profits. That's a 206% return.
What's the
This
details
guy
on
started with 27,000, took 52,000 in profits, 189% return. And this is all, this guy started with 147,000, took 166,000 in profits off the table, and took 112,000, percent. And they're all different. This guy only started with $654. Now you would say, well, why would somebody pay? And you're going to give them a link, right, to reduce the price to 3,500 from 4,500.
Yes, we're just talking about it in the
all
chat.
right. So yeah, why would somebody pay 3,500 and then only trade with $654? And I never have a real answer for that because I could think of multiple things. Number one, even if you didn't do anything, this guy only started with $170 and took $152, still 89% return. Some people don't have enough money to trade after, if he had enough to buy it, but he's watching his auto trader run in paper trade mode for a long time. and or even with hardly no money at all, a couple $100, and he's watching his auto trader run, and watch, because you become deprogrammed once you watch this auto trader run, and you no longer look at the market the way you used to look at it. Like, I'm impervious to any of the baloney in the market. I don't need to listen to all those talking heads on TV. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take off my jacket. You know why? Because I don't even want to look like them. I don't want you to look at me and think I'm like those talking heads on TV. I don't want to take off anymore. I don't want my hairy chest, to scare you.
Okay.
And I don't have a hairy chest, by the
Okay.
way.
Uh, let's
But
get back.
I'm just saying that you learn a lot, and even if you only did that, even if you just watch it trade with a couple $100, you would never be the same again. So that when you do come into money, this is the ultimate savings account. You throw your money in there, and the more it has, the more it makes. It's as simple as that. It's a
Yeah.
numbers game. I've got clients with a few million. I've got one client with $1.4 million in one account and $1.4 million in another account. That's 2.8 million this guy's using auto traders. He is cleaning up, because if he's getting 100%, he's doubling his money on each of those accounts in profits off the table, off physical money. I mean, it's not like a bank where you wait for your statement to come in the mail every month and it says, "Oh, look, I made 3 cents interest." Garbage, absolute garbage. How anybody leaves $1 in a bank amazes me. But yet we have an entire society doing that. So what does that tell you? It's like, and it's not easy to be me, because I'm bucking the system. I am the abstainer. I'm the guy in the whole room that says no, I don't agree. And that's, try to be that at Microsoft. You're throwing things, you're screaming, you're yelling. We were at
Let's do
war,
everybody
man. I mean, it
what you
was
say.
amazing. It was such an adventure.
I bet it was. You were there at such a crazy time. On the settings page, I want people to be able to see that real quick as well. We kind of
You
got
can
distracted.
click on view details. Like, you can just click on view details on one of these, and it'll tell you what he's trading. It shows you what his profit goal is, what his max lots allowed are, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy. He doesn't need a hundred lots, because he's saying add down to a 250% drop. It can't go down 250%. So that's illogical.
And
So,
we'll get to that
but the
page.
software knows to compensate for that. The software would have actually reduced it to the 100% when it's
Oh.
doing the money management. But you can
Mm-hmm.
click on any of these. This guy, it shows you all the coins he's trading, you know. But the optimal number of coins is 3 to 5 coins,
Yep.
and that's it. And when you sign up, it already tells you the 3 optimal coins. XCN is one of them. SUI is another. SUI and then L3. You can write those down. XCN, SUI, and L3. Those are like the most popular coins right now. Um,
So
so
let's
yeah,
get.
and you can scroll down here and see what everybody's trading. You can see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the optimal number. I mean, this is a beautiful trader right here, Um, other than, maybe he should be adding on 3% drops instead of 5. 3% drop times 30 lots would give him a 90% window going down. See, that's the difference between the way people think. When a normal person, an average person, say you're a day trader and you're sitting in front of the screens and you buy a coin, in your mind, you're thinking it's going to go up. That's what you're thinking. You're not thinking it's going to go down. You're buying that coin at that instant in time saying, I think it's going to go up. But the auto trader does the opposite. It's actually thinking the worst. It's saying, I think that coin's going to drop 90%. And it allocates funds to cover that, so that no matter where, if it does go down 50 or 60 or 70%, you're still in the game, buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. And that's what's going to add up for the rest of your life. So that's one thing for all of you who have accounts right now. My recommendation is, see this managed profits? I've already got $100,000 of funds sitting there in my bucket saved. So I'm not worried about it. But the default is to save 100% of the profits. Because if you take 100% in profits, say you have a $30,000 account and you take 30,000 in profits, that 30,000 will be sitting down here in your saved profits. The auto trader will not use this money. It looks at your account. It looks at my account and says I've got 200 and something thousand, right, in cash, but it subtracts out this 106,000 from that, and it says, okay, now I only have 100 and something thousand to work with. You can see it. You should see it on this screen here. Let me see if I can go up here. Yeah, so it's not showing me the cash. If I look up here, it does actually. Let me look. It should show it to you guys here. It's the way I'm logged in. But it's saying profit saved is 106,000, and it's saying you only have 90,000 left to work with. So that's what it's. So if I go down further, this, I'm going to just click on that. There, now it adds up. It adds up now to 90,000. If I look at how much funds is available for each coin, 16 there, 15 there, 21 there. So I'm, you always have money reserved, even though these coins have all taken a bath, really. They've gone down so much. Whoa, did I save that? No, I didn't save. Okay, good.
But let's go
I
down
don't
on
want
this screen.
Bitcoin. I don't want Bitcoin.
I want to make sure and everybody knows what all the settings are. So let's not forget to scroll down here and kind of let them know the parameters that they can change.
Yeah, there's by default. Wait, I'm gonna refresh my screen. Okay, there. That's why it said 110,000, because I added that Bitcoin and I didn't spread the funds equally. Okay, so the settings, there are only one screen of settings, whereas my old system had 10 screens of things you could change. 10 screens of ways to blow yourself up, I called it. Yeah. And AI is enabled always. And it shows you what the defaults are here in case you mess these numbers up. You can always look over to the right and say, this is what the defaults were. Okay? So max lots open in a single day. These three kind of go together. They slow the trader down in a bad market. Yeah. They say if the coin is going lower and lower and lower and lower in one day, I don't want to go buy while it's crashing in one day. It says, hey, if you're just going to go down, then I'm going to stop buying after 2 buys. I'll wait until midnight tomorrow Eastern time, and then the auto trader, after it's dropped 20% more or 15% more, the auto trader can go in and buy it 15% lower tomorrow. So instead of just putting all my money in one day. Plus it has a 60-minute pause between buys. That way, because if a coin's going down and you're buying, chances are it's going to keep going lower. Let it go. Give it an hour. Let the market breathe. Let it go where it wants to go, and then we can take advantage after it's made big moves. So these 60-minute pauses are good. This here, take this amount if reached. This was the example I had on right here. You see, in a routine market, a coin will go up 3%, and we'll wait for the AI to tell us, that, oh, hold on, it looks like it's going to go higher, kind of stuff. But in my case, if it jumps up $500 in one instant, just take it. Because look what it's going to do 1 second later or 1 minute later, drop right back down. So if I didn't take the profit, I don't want to wait for anything in that case. So that's why I'm saying by default, most people don't have as much as I have in the account. By default, the default is $100. If it goes up 100, you're going to go ahead and take that. What I was going to say here is you can tell. I'm going to search here. Right here. Take this amount if reached. If you see too many of those hitting, then you know you need to raise that amount, because it's telling us right here, take this amount if reached. It's saying I hit my 500, and it basically took it. It put the order in, and then the price went even higher. But if I but there's another one. There's another one, but they're spread out far. When if you get to a point where they're happening, like here, they're happening too much. This is when I had it at a smaller number, but they were happening a lot all together. So I raised the number to 500. So that's
Do you
what's
ever
going on.
recommend not having that number, Ed, just taking that number off, or do you think it's important to have in there?
I'm not in love with the. I think it's an interesting thing. You know, I could live without it. On my other trader, I set it to 10,000. You know, because the market moves a real lot, and sometimes it gets in the. It's given me too many of those. But it is a valuable feature. You know, if I'd leave it unless you see it hitting a real lot. Usually, it's okay. $100 is okay for an average size account. Profit goal is simple. If you've got $10,000, I don't know, even raise that to 5%. You know, I mean, a lot of people are raising it to 5%.
So what's your reasoning behind that, real quick? And I have a question from Glenn in the chat too, and he says he feels like he did set it to 5% when you had made that, when you said initially when you were doing that a few weeks ago, and he hasn't had as many executes in a week, so he's just confirming that he's still.
It's only, well, the market's just not going to move the same. The market's not going to move the same all the time. I raised. There's multiple things in play here. Number one is the market moves a lot. Yeah, like right now, today's move, it's not even moving, all right? Down, 2%, not even 1%, not even moving, 2%. They're not moving today. But tomorrow, all of a sudden, they'll be up 10% or down 10%. So we're getting big moves.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going on. You could lower it to 3%, leave it at 3 if you want. But the other thing in play here is I feel like they push these coins so far down. My punishment to the market, to the whales, is I've got all this inventory that I bought all the way down. I'm going to torture you now. You went all the way down there. Now you can pay me at least 5% on every trade. I'm not going to take 3 anymore. Now it's a vindictive move. I set it to 5%. I actually have another auto trader that I created, that I have another one with 150,000 in it, that I set to 10% moves. I said, you know what? I'm not going to give it back to you that easy. You went down there, pay me. That's your punishment.
I love how you're always learning auto traders and testing things out. And
you never want to tick me off. I'm a bad enemy, because I'm going to punish them for it. That's why I raised it to 5%. So 2 things. Number one, we're getting a lot of moves. These today moves are starting to pop because they keep pushing the prices lower, but they can't keep going unless they're going to take these coins to zero. And these are multi-million-dollar companies. So what happens is they bounce it up right away, 10 or 20%. And then they'll push it back down again. But we want to take all the profits we can on those. And I'm not going to give away free. I'm not giving. When the market was only moving small like this every day, all month long, then yeah, the 3% moves was fine. But we saw yesterday they were up 10%. That's my point. We're getting big moves. We're getting bigger moves now. For 3 years, from 21 till last year, just before the election, I noted we were only doing 2% moves up and down. But then I said I'm raising mine to 3% because the market's starting to. I can see bigger moves. I'm starting to see 5% moves in here, and now I'm starting to see 10% and 20% moves. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to raise it to 5% now. So 2 things. Number one, it's moving enough. We're getting big enough moves. And number 2, punishment to the big boys for pushing the coins down. You want my coins? I'll sell them. You got to give me at least 5%. All right. So to continue. So,
Thank you.
The next thing is pullback after reaching goal. In the stock market, when a coin goes or a stock goes up, a lot of times you'll say, "Yeah, wait, hold on until it pulls back at least a quarter or something, or 1% down, 1% from where you exist from the high before you sell it." We have AI, and AI is more accurate than waiting for something to pull back. If you're waiting for something to pull back, well, you would have just lost all your profit on this one because it went straight up and then came straight down instantly. So that's the thing. So we don't wait. I'm almost want to get rid of the feature altogether. I don't like it. We have AI. We don't have to wait for a pullback. AI is saying it's not going to go higher. So what are we doing? Gambling?
Right.
And
Yeah,
you
makes
can
sense.
see with all those moves, you can see so many of them where they just come like right here. You see the peak on that one just straight down. Each one of these, they're just touching and coming right back down. So that's why I don't like that waiting for a pullback in the crypto market. This one says trade in equal funds or equal shares. The default now, by the way, is equal funds. Okay? Where you're trading in fixed dollar amounts all the way to the bottom. And that works better, especially like I said, when the coin's going this far down, and that's why you're seeing 14% drops and stuff like that. I think if it's just equal funds, then the amount stays the same all the way down. Then you got your ad shares on price moves. Some people with smaller accounts, if you have under like 5,000, I'd say set that to 5%. Add on 5% drops, especially in such a down market. These are things I can't just automate to automatically change it. You notice these are the kind of settings I can't really just change on based on what, the auto trader sees a lot of stuff, but it can't just change numbers like this stuff. The
You're
market's
really good
too, it's all over the place. So the default settings are really good.
You're really good at sending emails if you're tweaking your settings and
Yeah, I do.
you know what you're doing and yeah.
And then this one here, this is important. 3% drops times 40 lots. That's actually more. That would be 120% trading window. But I had to go to 40 because some of these coins like GRT only in the last couple months just started tanking. And that's when I see a good company that like that's not what is that, $1 billion company. I mean, who gets any of you programmers on here, if you ever wrote an API software and you told other people they can run your software to verify things or whatever, you're not getting 2 billion hits a day on that API. These guys are. They are like part of blockchain. They came in early enough in the blockchain world where everybody's using them. All the exchanges. I mean, I'm speculating on this, but I'm pretty good when I'm at this speculation. How do you get 2 billion hits a day unless you're being called every time a trade occurs? Which tells me they're verifying the verification of the addresses. Here's the source. Here's the destination. Did the shares get where they're supposed to go without getting hijacked along the way? That kind of stuff. They've got so I feel like this is, golden opportunity, man. I love this company. But back to this. So they went to 35 lots, so I raised this to 40. That's why.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's good to know that the system adjusts, even though that equates to 120% price drop, it'll stop you at 100, so it's still putting your money to work.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, 100 would be the coin went out of business, so that's not
um,
happening. Because
right.
remember, we're adding to winners and losers. If we were just adding to losers, then you'd never get to that point. Because if you're adding on 3% drops, 3 times 33 lots would be 99% drop. But because you're adding to winners also, then it could go up and you could buy more, and then it could go down. Now you've added an extra one to the bottom, which means it could actually go over 100% from the high.
Yeah. And it will never
Yeah.
sell at a loss. I think we established that. You just hold those
Yeah.
positions in inventory at higher prices. So it's just kind of a numbers chasing price, making sure we're always where the crypto is trading.
Yeah, the biggest issue with people is they're battling in their minds misinformation, a lot of misinformation, you know. And you know, one of the things some people, a lot of not well, some people, not a lot, but some people they want to debate in support. They'll send email and say, what about this and what about that and what about that? That's really, you know, my support teams can't answer any of that stuff because they're over here telling you how to use the auto trader. They're not over here speculating on your vision of how you think the world works. You know, I, on the other hand, will argue and debate with you. I try to at least show the reasoning behind what's going on. And I'm amazed that some people are just really out of it. I could see why they would lose all their money, you know, in the market because their vision of the market is completely off. This stuff has been running 25 years. That's why I'm so confident. I talk the way I talk because I know I'm right. Because I put my money where my mouth is, you know, and I've got auto traders, I've got thousands of users using this. There aren't, you know, people aren't, you know, they're sticking to their guns, you know, and what I tell people is, hey, nobody's going to scare me out of this market just because we're having some down days. Because I know they can't push them to zero. And I mean, if you just do research, you know, somebody said something like 90% of the cryptos are owned by like one or 10% of the richest people.
Yeah,
Which is,
crazy. So we
what does
still
that
have,
tell you? They're
yeah,
scaring the little guys out. They're
right.
literally they're pulling a Hunt brother thing here. They're not when the Hunt brothers tried to corner the silver market, they couldn't do it. But the whales have been going after this crypto market for the last 4 years. That's why we've been in that long-term downtrend. They're trying to drive the little guys out. And every time they push the coins down, when we have a big down day, I mean, I read something yesterday like $531 billion of people sold out. You know, it's like, yeah, wow, you guys, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, man, and that's bad. You're being tricked. And it's like, you're not scaring me out of the market because if 90% of the cryptos are being held by 1 or 10%, I'm not sure, of the wealthiest people, well, they're not in it to lose. And
Right. We
Trump's
just got
been on $7 billion worth of crypto, and I know he's going to turn that into 70 billion. I know he is. So nobody's going to scare me out. Plus, I got all that inventory. Every time we have a big jump, I clean up. It's just
yeah,
free
yeah.
money. It's an insult to humanity. You know, I say that all the time, but it
Me
literally
too.
is.
So Ed, we're at that's at an hour and a half, but do you have time for a little Q&A if anybody
Yes,
has?
yes. I have nothing but time. I live for these webinars. Come on.
Hey,
I
hey,
just,
Francine,
oh, yes, James.
uh, can I be first?
Sure. And then I want to move to Glennie as a question in the chat, but go
Can you
ahead.
be first or fresh?
First, hey, Ed, what's going on, man?
Hi, James.
Quick
You can
question.
be fresh too. It's okay.
I needed you to explain this to me. Let's say you started out with 10,000 in your account, and your account value because of the coins went down. You know, because you bought coins, it went down to like 7, but it says your profit is 2. If you pull that 2,000 out, will you still be like you trading with 10,000?
Well, the 10,000 is your principal. That's what you initially put in.
Right,
All the profits you're taking are not going back into they're in the principal. They're in your account value.
right,
But
right.
as long as you see my managed profits, as long as you have this set to 100%,
Uh-huh. Y'all do.
then you can take all that money out of your profit save bucket here.
And it's
The
still
software is not using it.
would trade as if I had the original amount in there that I put
Yeah,
in.
software's not
Yes.
using it. Yep, yep.
Yes, it's
Okay.
not using it all.
And-
However, let me say this, because we are in an unusual time where the coins have been dropping unusually high, more than
right,
normal. Normally, a coin's not going to drop 90%. That's just unrealistic. That's like Microsoft, like I said, is not going to drop to $50 a share. It's just not
right,
going to do that. That doesn't happen. You know, normally they're going to stay up here and you're going to trade like this forever. You know, so, but what happens because we set the default setting at 75% drop, that left you a 25% at the bottom that you don't have enough money for with your principal money.
Right.
Because look what it says here. All funds except the all funds except the profits saved will be used within that 25% window.
Okay.
So it's going to squeeze all your money into that 75% window. Now, should we get down into this bottom range where it goes below 75%, you can raise this. See the 75? Usually
Yeah.
we raise it in fives to 30 to 90%.
Okay.
3 times 30 is 90. However, where's it going to get the money to trade with if you do that? You
Right.
told it now that you can go there, but you don't have any money to go there. That's where the money in your save bucket comes in handy. You could say, edit this and say, let's minus $20,000. And it would lower it from 106,000 in my save bucket to 86,000. That would give the auto trader 20,000 to work with. You can't imagine how I cringe when somebody runs out of money there, and then I come here and I say, all right, we extended the window down here to a bigger window, trading window. Now we got to go get the money. And I go and look here, and what's here? Zero. Because
Gotcha.
they said save zero. And that hurts me deeply because it's like, then what am I going to tell them? I don't know.
Gotcha.
Sell some other coins that you might have that aren't trading in your GoBabyTrade, or put more money in. But doesn't that just sound
Right.
shysterish? I'm telling you to
Right.
put more money in. I don't have access to your money. I'm telling you for you. I don't know what else to say. You know, you didn't save your profits. If you would have saved your profits, by the time a coin goes down 90%, you should have a big bucket of saved profits.
Exactly.
Especially if you've been taken, if you've, like in my case, I've been living off my money. I literally live off this account with my
Right.
Visa, my Coinbase Visa card. But I've taken 354,000 of actual physical profits. That should all be sitting in here, you know.
Okay.
I bought
But
a
so,
Range Rover for 200 grand last year, so you can see where 200 of that went.
exactly. So I need to raise my thing. I need to raise my account to 5%, right?
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
Okay.
I would. It
Okay.
doesn't hurt, you know. I mean, I would put this at 5, add shares on price moves to 5,
Okay. Gotcha.
and then the profit goal to 5.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Where's the pro? I see. Where's the profit goes at? Where's that located at?
Well, a
It
little
says here
higher.
Okay.
a little bit.
Whoops.
Um,
Okay.
It's just a little higher on the list here.
so
Okay.
Right here, profit goal.
All right. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you.
sure,
Hey,
James.
you're
Thank
welcome, James. Anytime.
Also, you guys also feel free to reach out to me or to support at gobabytrade.com. If you want some private attention with your auto trader, there's a great team back there and Ed and Steve who will
We
hop on
do.
at it and see what's going on and make recommendations based on, we don't like to share people's auto traders here, but they'll
Yeah.
definitely, take
I'm
care.
not an investment advisor, and you see me say that in emails sometimes. You know, I feel like sometimes I just got to throw that out there. Hey, I'm not an investment advisor, but I'm going to give you a suggestion, you know? And because anytime somebody sends me email, I review your trader. I
Yeah.
look at everything right away, and it's so easy. I mean, I can scan your trader in 2 seconds. Plus, it even has a health meter here, which is way cool, See this health meter at the top. If it's flashing red, then you got errors, things that you need to correct. So if I click on that health meter, it actually takes a quick review of everything in my trader, and all these greens, it shows if there's any X's, they would be at the top. Any informationals, they would be next. And then all the other ones are green, which means there's no errors. And the only thing it's telling me informational, it says, hey, by the way, you're not saving your profits. It's giving me a heads up. You're not saving your profits. You're not doing what little Eddie likes you to do. And it's just telling me that I'm not. But I've got $100,000 in there already. I'm not in a hurry to save more. I mean,
So
You know, you could save all your profits and let it build up or live on it. That's your money. Do what you want with it, really. You know, I mean, if you're gonna, I mean, I don't feel as bad if you're living off of it. If you're actually withdrawing that money from the to your bank account and living off of it and doing something with it. What I don't like is when somebody says don't save any of the profits. Like this, save zero. Because what you're doing then is you're telling the auto trader you want to invest those profits at at the higher prices, and then you don't have that saved money when the prices go lower. You're
Yeah.
going in at higher prices with your saved money. You know, some people talk about, well, it's compound interest, compound earnings and all. Yeah, compounding is nice when things are going up and you're buying more shares, but if things are going down, and we've been in a downtrend for 4 years, so they can jerk with us. I don't know how much longer they can because these coins are so much lower. I think they're getting ready to blow this thing sky high. Um,
Hmm.
but, you know, again, you notice I use the word I think because I don't know anything. I don't know when they're going to do stuff. But, you know, logically, it seems like they push these
Hmm.
coins down. Like I said, you're going to see blood in the streets before they run it up. And we're getting crazy moves. These
Yeah.
crazy, wild moves, I mean, are just beautiful. So we're, you know, I don't know. Am I in a hurry for it to go all the way up? I mean, I could trade Microsoft at a penny all day long, right? You know, what do I care? You know, why am I in a hurry? People just want it to go up so bad. And I'm like, it's kind of nice when things are lower. I don't like the idea that the prices are going lower, that they keep, you know, we're having so many down days in a row kind of thing. I know it discourages a lot of people. Our DNA isn't prepared for that. That's the thing. It's all about your DNA. When you first get an auto trader in the market, it takes a 10% or 20% drop, and it does multiple days down 5%, the way it was doing a few weeks ago. People's DNA has a problem with that, you know. I am in heaven when I see down days like that because I know I'm loading up, and other people are the same way. Like that one
Yeah.
day when L layer 3 dropped 30% in that one day. That was
Right.
just like people. I mean, somebody sent me a text message. He said, "I could just see you laughing," and it was funny because when I read the text message, he was right. I was cracking up because I'm
Yeah.
like, I love it, man. You want to go down there? I'll go down there with you, man, and I'll buy more now down there. And what did it do in the next 2 days? It rebounded that 30%. So
Hmm.
if it would have been nicer because when it dropped 30%, we didn't own any shares there, so we could just buy one lot. And then it jumped 30% in the next couple of days, and we only had one lot. It's like you had one bag of potato chips on the shelf and a school bus full of kids pulled in your 7-Eleven. You only sold one bag of chips. You need to have a lot of inventory. Now, if the coin would have jumped instead of dropping 30%, if it would have jumped 30% and I got all that inventory, man, think of all the inventory you would have sold off. So it was just opposite of what, you know, you like it when it does this or
Well, if
spikes up like that because you sell all that inventory you bought down there.
guys, I'll post you can find my YouTube channel. It's at Impact Earnings. And I think it was the last call we did when you talked about how the only time you've ever manually traded is when we had that price move and you picked up a couple, you know, a little bit more when it just
Yeah,
totally
I
fell
was
off.
buying 5,000, 10,000 worth of more coins on that drop when it did
Like the
that.
only
When it
time you've done
spiked
that.
down like that, I said, hey man, I can't even resist this. I'm sorry.
Right.
This is a
So
joke.
I want to get to Glenn's question because
Hmm.
if we go back to the screen, he's saying, you know, first of all, when would you ever use the close button? And then also when we wish to drop a coin and add another, what's the procedure? And so
On
maybe
this
talk.
trader, I didn't do, there's no manual. I don't think there's any manual trade. MAN, I'm going to search for it. The word manual. Nope. No manual trades in this trader.
Yeah.
So I would never do that. Oh, here, you mean over here. This
Yeah. If
close
you were to
button is
close,
deadly.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
close that, you're closing all this inventory that you're down at a loss. You're gonna close it instantly like if I accidentally click confirm on that, I would close out of that position. That would be nuts. And if you didn't want it to, if you don't want to trade it ever again, if you want to just tell the auto trader, you just check that box there. It says stop the trader from purchasing more.
Hey, Ed, stop right here a minute. I want to tell people that at the top of all your screens now, and even this pop-up, you have view video, so people can look at, get an idea of what they're looking at here and what you have to say about that screen. So yeah, we don't use that close button unless
It's over here too, at the top of all. I got a view video up here for this top part, because this shows you all the coins you can trade. And then if I go further down, the next section is this section here, and there's a view video there that talks about it. And then then the indicators, I literally walk through all these. People say, can you tell me what these do? It's like, well, number one, you got the view video for this whole section. Number two, every one of these headings here, enable AI. You can click it. It'll literally should take you right to, every FAQ that has AI in it. How does the AI affect the trader? I mean, there's a lot going on about AI.
I didn't even. It's always adding stuff. That's really cool. So if
yeah, max lots open in a single day. You can click on that. It'll come here and it'll say max lots open in a single day, and it'll talk about it.
So the other part of Glenn's question is if he wanted to switch what he's trading, if he wanted to remove a ticker and add a new one, how would he do that and maybe speak to that? What you're recommending?
I see people doing it, Glenn, and they're overdoing it, in my opinion. It's like you've already got 118,000 tied up in this coin, and you only have 23,000 left. But somebody will say, well, I don't want to buy any more of that coin, but I'm going to keep this. Because if I close it, I'm going to be taking a loss on my open inventory, which I don't want to do. But I can keep it, and if the prices go higher, I'll sell it off. But the problem what happens when you do that is, say the price is all the way down here, and then you say don't buy anymore, and now the price drops. You're missing all the wiggles on the downside now. And the coin might drop 30% more, and now you're out of the game until it goes back up 30% to where you own inventory. So you've got inventory up here, but you don't have it, and then the price goes down here. You're out of the game on that coin, and you're waiting for it to go back there. Even if I add another coin, what am I adding? Well, I only had 23,000. So if I have 23,000 there, if I want to add now another coin down here, I could put it there.
And I want to clarify.
I'm trying to get this down to 23,000.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, or just click on that, and then it'll use that money that you took away from up here, and it'll spread it out to these other coins. So I see people doing that. I see things that look like this, and then they'll they leave one there and one there, and then they, and I'm looking, I'm like, wow, this guy had 20 coins. He's only trading 4 coins now, but now he's got all this inventory that he's waiting for it to go up. At least he didn't sell it at a loss. I'll give him that. But this is how you do it. You uncheck the add to decliners and advancers. You can slow down the decline, the adding if you wanted, and just say don't add to advancers. Sometimes, I'll be honest, because I'm always observing things. I gave everybody the ability. We were always adding to advancers and decliners, but we used to say allow buy and allow sell, and that's all we said. But then we added this Bitcoin dollar cost averaging thing, and people wanted to add. They didn't want to add, to advancers, or or they wanted to add. So what I did is I said, well, you know what? I'm going to give people the ability to do both. Really, I'm giving you the ability to turn off what was always a default. These were always defaulted on, but you couldn't see them. It just said allow buy and allow sell. And I given the people the ability to turn it off. I might start telling people, turn off the ability to add on advancers. It's not super important, but it does slow down the buy-in.
Mhm.
You know, instead of adding as it's going up. I love to be able to get the market coming and going though. It feels really good when I see my trader, you know, say, you know, add to gaps.
Yeah.
Where are
Yeah.
they? I haven't seen any. In my other trader, there's a whole lot of them. A lot. This has been running for a long time, so there are no gaps. It's already filled the gaps.
Mhm.
It's easier to fill the gaps already because you're buying and selling. But some people have like Bitcoin, like I said, they'll uncheck the allow sell. And when they do that, it goes all the way up and it buys, 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 buys. And then on the way down, it can't buy any more on the way down because you already own it at all those various prices. So you know, so in that case, you know, there's value in adding to advancers. You know, XRP is the same thing. Anytime you have where I'm not going to sell it, a coin can run way up and then you can't wait for it to go to the bottom price to add more. And you're missing a run. You should be adding up there, you know. Another thing but there is bad things about unchecking allow sell. If you think about it, you're tying up a lot of inventory. Because if that coin keeps running up, it's going to use up all of its money, you know, because you just used it all up. You're not selling anything. I mean, the guy that actually sent me email saying, how come my auto trader isn't buying? And I watched this coin drop 14%, he said. I'm like, yeah, because you already own it up there. You bought it on the way up, and now it's on the way down. You already own it at all those prices. Unless there were gaps that you might fill between those prices, then it might hit that. But once you know, Bitcoin has been sitting between 120 and 105 for the last few months. You've already filled the gaps already. You know, because it's already gone in there already between those gaps, and you've already squeezed. We're tightening. The whole purpose of filling the gap is to make sure we don't want the market to be able to breathe without giving us money. I want it. I mean, I would love to be able to just say trade on 1% moves, you know, really. Just
Mhm.
just 1% moves, just fill it all up. Just fill the whole thing up and don't let it sell. I mean, you know, I know somebody doing it. You know, he adds on 1% drops for 75 lots deep. So he's still got his 75% window, and he's got it sell on 10% moves, 10% profit
Mhm.
goal. And he's adding on 1% drop, so he's just squeezing the market so tight, and every time it jumps up, like it's got to jump up 10%. And
Yeah.
he's taking good money. You know, so there's so much you can do here with it looks like so little here, right? There's not a lot going on,
Right.
but there's so much you can do with this. Even if you just run by default, you're fine. But that's why, you know, some people say you should get rid of all the rules, and I'm like, no, because you can do stuff. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, you can still play around with these. It looks like you got a few indicators, but with these few indicators, you could do some stuff.
So, Ed, I
Interesting
want to
stuff.
address the other part of Glenn's question is, about dropping a coin and adding another. And I just want to say too, I know we talk about this on other calls and in our little WhatsApp group that I have as well, but you never want to waste all that good inventory that you pointed out. So even though, people get caught up, Ed's names and default tokens are always changing because, the market's moving and the top traders list are, tokens are moving in and out of that. But if you started with some tickers at one point, a year or 2 years ago, like crypto is
You don't
volatile.
change.
Still going to be, yeah, he's not going to go in and change those because the inventory is too valuable. So
The
don't you
valuable, a well-seasoned auto trader is gold. These things I've already got 20. I mean, like I said, you know, if I only have when you first sign up, you only got one lot of that coin. And that's the equivalent of the school bus, I tell you. When you only got one bag of potato chips on the shelf and a school bus full of kids pulls in, you're only going to sell one bag. If a school bus full of kids comes in here, I got a lot of inventory to sell and I'm going to make a fortune. Anytime a coin makes a big jump, you want to be able to take advantage of that. Now, that's where when people add too many coins, they don't have much money allocated to each coin. You're sitting on 20 coins doing what, 3%, 2% of your money or 3% for each coin or 4 or 5, whatever, it's not enough. I want to have 30%. I want to have, even 20%. When I first started, this is what it was, 20% per coin. Actually, it was more than that. It was 25% because I didn't have I didn't have this Swift in there.
So I want to finish what I was saying real quick on that topic, Ed. So we're not chasing shiny objects just because you see a name that's moving, or in the chat somebody's trading something new and you want to get rid of a coin, take a loss. We're only chasing price here. You're good with these are all super volatile names, because those tickers that Ed's recommending are always going to move in and out of the top 1 and 2. So just chillax, and we're so good. We're taking a lot of profit. ACH, all these names are powerhouses in their own right now. And then I want to address this really quick. What P. Shaw is saying, had asked about taxes, Ed, and I love what you were saying. What you've said before is that the way that Coinbase takes, when it takes a sell, it does the first in, first out method versus.
Oh yeah.
So do you ever really report profits, and your Coinbase creates a 1099 you can give to your accountant, right? So it
Well,
takes
they even better than that. If you get Coinbase One, if I go to Coinbase One and then I search for taxes, pre-filled forms. They actually, if you sign up for Coinbase One, they give you a pre-filled form. The actual form, it's like 88.94 or something like that. There's an actual form that you submit with your taxes. So you're done.
But the
The
way it
form is
matches
done.
up to buy and sell is not the way GoBaby does.
Oh, well,
GoBaby,
that's another thing, but I can explain it right here. Let's just use a simple example. If I bought something at $10 and the price goes to 1 and I buy it again, and then the price goes to 2, GoBabyTrade was sold the one that it bought at 1 and sold it at 2 for a profit, right? You would think, well, I owe taxes on that. Not necessarily, because Coinbase doesn't know I sold the one at 1. We're doing last in, first out. So the last one I bought was at 1 and I sold it. It's the first one I'm going to sell. So when I sell it at 2, that's the one I sold, the one I bought at 1. They're doing first in, first out. Or they're actually making it even better. Highest in, first out. That's a new one. HIFO. The highest one you own, they're going to say that's the one you sold at 2 for a big fat loss. Thank you. Thank you. The rich get richer. It's so they're making it look like a big loss. So even though even the first year we all made so much money, and then at tax time everybody was amazed when they said we don't owe any taxes. That was 4 years ago. Everybody was amazed. Like, how the heck could they say I didn't make any money, that I had all these losses? It's like, no, well, the market dropped a lot. And because the market tanked, they're realizing all those losses on all that open inventory. Like this inventory I have right here, all that's going to show as negative on my taxes. So, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can I quickly ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Yes.
So what I was told is that Coinbase does not create the 1099 with the correct basis. So you will have to create the basis. They are not mandated to do that. I think it's in 2025 they are now required to do it or something like that. But my understanding is not that accurate. So I was just
Well,
trying to.
the way it was with the stock market is they always do HIFO or
No, not
LIFO.
about you're not answering my question. I am not talking about stock market. I'm talking about crypto. When it comes to
Same thing.
crypto, the issue is the basis. The basis has to be put in properly so as to create a 1099.
But they don't know which lot you're selling. You have all these lots that are open. I've got 22 open lots of ACH. When I sell one of them, they don't know which one I sold. The software might know, but it doesn't matter. They match it up. Sometimes if you look at your sales in Coinbase, you're gonna see a lot of negatives, loss, 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 even though all these trades are all positive.
Because every trade when you buy and sell, or that's how you do, right? Buy and sell, day in, day out, 24/7. Every trade has to be reported, or at least has to
That's
be.
okay. They are
Okay.
doing that. They just don't
But
know
but
that
do they provide the cost basis? That's the question here. If they
that's
don't,
they do.
they do. Okay.
When I sell, let's see this one. When I sell this one, that it says entry price 1 cent, right? 1.1 cent. They are going to go down. They're going to match that up with the one I bought all the way down here. And they're going to say, you bought it at 5 cents and you sold it at 1 cent.
Because what I learned from someone is that unfortunately Coinbase is not providing the cost basis. Hence, you have to connect a coin ledger or some software that
Oh,
that
no. God, no. Not true. Not true. Not true.
Coinbase has a list of
They
all.
actually create the report for you. They
Mhm.
actually, what I showed you there in Coinbase One, they actually pre-filled tax form. If you get Coinbase One, they will, if you sign up for Coinbase One, they will actually produce the form that you actually
maybe they did
submit to
not
your
sign
tax.
for it. Maybe they did not sign for Coinbase One. So maybe
Oh,
that's the extra advantage you
yes.
get by signing. So this is an extra cost, right?
Yeah, well, that's at Coinbase. Yeah, but they also give you a 25% kickback on your taxes. I
Commission. You
mean,
mean commission on the
not
commission.
on your taxes, on your, oh,
Commission.
there it is. There it is, 89.49. They actually pre-fill that form and you just submit that with your taxes. You're done. And a lot of the things you sold that you know that your auto trader sold profitably, they're going to log them as losses. You're going to see a lot of losses on that report.
Okay. Okay. Because I was told very clearly that, they were not mandated to create a 1099. So you
Well,
unfortunately
Well, the
have to.
1099 is a separate thing from this pre-filled form.
Normally, when you trade in any exchange, you're supposed to create I mean, normally they give you a 1099, 1099 DIV or a 1099 INT or whatever. I mean, in this case,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's going to be my first time because I
Yeah,
opened
they're
a
doing
Coinbase.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
they're gonna do that. But you could take if you want a 1099, it doesn't have to have 1099s don't itemize the trades, but you could just take the total big fat loss that they show on here and put it on your 1099.
Yeah, because the IRS is not interested in your itemized items. They are more interested in the high level things. Give me the high level. And
Right.
then later at a date if you get an audit, you got to substantiate it. So that's where the
And that's where
8949.
this form here really
Yeah,
kicks
that's
in.
that's where it
But you
might
can
be.
submit that with your taxes. It's an actual form you can put in with your taxes.
And in your
They
case,
also,
in your case, your form could probably run into hundreds of pages, probably, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot. I don't
Okay.
know.
Gotcha.
So you
But also this
1099 as
they
well.
the 25 they give you a 25% kickback on your fees, on your trading fees too. So you benefit that way also.
How much are you, how much do you need to pay for this Coinbase one?
They have different levels that are listed on the website. It
I
depends
have
on.
the preferred
So Coinbase one can come in preferred and unpreferred, non-preferred, basic and preferred,
well,
I mean.
they have, yeah, here. You have basic for $5. Well, see, that's the thing. That basic is new, so I'm not sure about how that works because they do say it does show under the $5 one, it does show the tax, exclusive tax deals. So I'm surprised it's on both. So
It's
this
about
one's new,
$300
this five
a
dollar
year.
one. I've been paying $29.99 a month.
Yeah, it's on a yearly basis, it's about $300. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have to bother with your taxes, you know, they produce the form for you.
If you're doing it day in, day out, it's worth it. I can't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any chance of
So it's, yeah, just
Gemini?
search for Coinbase One.
So, Tony has a question. Any chance of adding Gemini Exchange because they let you trade in an IRA? I just want to tell you, Tony, anybody that's trading through an IRA, like you have to use an intermediary partner, and the amount of cryptos you have available to trade are like a handful. They're very limited. Now they might be adding more. Like, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not giving any kind of advice, or I'm not that, but just telling you. And they take their own commission. I did a lot of research on this for somebody just, to try to connect an IRA to Coinbase. And they also take fees. They take their own trading fees every time you trade. And I told her, I'm like, for me, I just don't think it makes sense. I think you pay, personally, I would take the 10%.
I don't
Fine.
see the purpose.
Put it
I
in
don't
early,
see the
put it in
purpose of worrying about other exchanges because you can just move your USDC
Mhm.
in the Coinbase and trade with them and let the auto trader trade with it. Plus,
So
what I like about Coinbase, it has good security and it also has the under your menu, you can see this under the menu. Let me go up here. Menu. Um, Coinbase allow lists. See that? Everybody should activate that. If you don't have that turned on, then somebody could get, if somebody got in your Coinbase account, you wouldn't even know you were hacked until all your coins were gone. So I would activate Coinbase allow list, that feature. I would click that. It takes you right to your Coinbase account and right to that page. So you don't have to go hunting for it. That's why I put it on the menu. Coinbase allow list. Everybody should have that turned on. But what I like about Coinbase also is they have nice security, but they also have portfolios. So I could run 3 different GoBabyTrade accounts, husband, wife, 1 child, 4 accounts even, and another child. I could run 4 accounts, or if personally, all 3 or all 4 for me. It doesn't matter if I want to run 3 or 4 different strategies. I could do that. I could get, say I got 3 GoBabyTrade licenses. I could create those portfolios in GoBabyTrade, and trader 1, trader 2, trader 3. Point each one, create a new the API from each GoBabyTrade account to each portfolio. 3 separate APIs. So each
one
GoBabyTrade account points to one portfolio. See, that's cool. So like I've got 4 accounts personally.
Each ships
So
is another 30. Well, if you use the discount, like $3,499 for 3 years. So they do require separate subscriptions, but you can have multiple portfolios, which is a really
oh
great.
man, I know families that got up to 20 people in there. Yeah, they got
one
20
one
accounts. I mean,
one
I know
little
whole families that have bought that are. I mean, so many people are doing this. Once you get it, man, you're done forever. You never look at the market the same again. You're just the
one little
market is a joke.
one little con about this Coinbase is that they won't allow you to write a beneficiary, or you cannot come through a trust. That's the unfortunate part.
Ah,
Other exchanges do that, so that's a little con.
all right. So yeah, if you have those kind of things, yeah.
Yeah, but and then the
Well,
other thing.
Coinbase has Coinbase and then Coinbase Prime and Coinbase
But
something
I
else.
think Ed, you should consider Gemini, because Gemini allows. See, I'm already working with directed IRA, so I can have my 401k routed through a IRA LLC, and then it's like a check writing LLC. That check writing LLC allows me to write checks to
Oh,
companies
all right.
that can trade, and Gemini is allowing that. Gemini has a special relationship with directed IRA, and you can do a lot of that. So you
Yeah, there
should.
might be a reason. I'm not sure why, because we were gonna automate Gemini a few years ago. I don't know why we didn't, you know.
Yeah, I
So
think I'm not sure what's preventing you, but I would definitely look
yeah,
into
I
that
wrote it
option.
down. I wrote it on
Thank
my
you, thank you. That'll be very
my
helpful.
Apple
Yeah,
101
thank you.
device here.
Yeah.
So that's what somebody calls this.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, but once you got an auto trader, you're done for life, really. Really, it's just people the longer you run it, the more you start shutting down everything else you have going on in the world. You know, I know one guy selling off he said he's gonna sell off his 3 rental properties.
If I have a quick question, if I invest 100K of money in there, will it create a steady income per month? I mean, like again, not sure
Well,
if that's
that's the thing. It's up to what the market's doing, but
of course,
I'm
100%.
constantly, I mean, this could be 2,000 or it could be 20,000 my 30 days. It's up to what the market wants to do. If the market's moving, I mean, I make a fortune, man. I make way more money every month than I could even spend if I wanted
I
to.
want to replace my income, so all I'm saying is if what should I invest so as to make a 5-6 thousand per month
Well,
so
you can't
it
really
can
say what you should invest. What your goal is the more you put in, you want this number to rise, your
exactly.
profits per trade. This is the number you want to rise. If you're getting $5 a trade now, you want to try to get it up to 10. You know what I mean? But it's up to really the market's going to dictate a lot of what's going on. Because you can see every month is going to be a little bit different because like you can see what happened on when ACH took off in on January 26th when it went from 2.2 cents to 5.6 cents. I mean, I was making, you can see the amount of money I made on these trades. See, ACH just took off. It went from 2.2 cents to 2.1 cent down here. It went to 5.6 cents in 5 days. And man, and all that inventory I was sitting on that I talk about, the value of all that inventory, when it went from 2 cents to almost 6 cents, I took 2,200 on that one trade, 2,000 on that one, 1,746 on that one. And it's just gold, man. So you don't know what you're gonna make, but I can tell you we are sitting at the bottom right now, and the sooner. I mean, I'm not an investment advisor, but I'm telling you, man, you got to get some money in. The best way to do this is to get as much money into the account, really. And I'm only speaking from experience. I see other people are doing it. I even put a video on the website that tells people don't mortgage your house. I mean, there's a video right here. Right
Yeah.
here. Don't do this when buying cryptocurrencies, because people were mortgaging their houses and everything. And I'm like, slow down, people, They're getting credit cards and because you make so much more than what you pay for interest on those loans. And I just it's just discouraging to know that somebody already paid off their house and then they're going to get a mortgage. Don't do it again. You already paid off the house. Don't, a lot of these people have their houses paid off and they want to go out and get another mortgage on it just so they could throw it in their auto trader. I see the value of it though, but it just doesn't feel right.
No,
So
no.
I
Well,
told
So,
plus on
people
so,
I
so,
wouldn't do it.
so Ed, 1 month you could be making 10% of that money. 1 month you could be making 5%. Past results do not predict what the future is. But what has been
Exactly.
but when market is in a range, or I mean, that's the lowest you can make. What has been your past results that kind of show you with confidence, hey, it's making about 2-3% of what it
You
is.
can't because if we're having a crummy month, I mean, look what I've only made 2,300 here. There are months when I made 20,000 in
With with
30
with
days.
with how much you made 2,322? How much has been invested?
Well, it's right here. It's a $437,000 account.
But with 437,000 account, you how much is invested? All of that?
you can see the
No,
column that
no, you
says
go to the screen right here. You go to the select currency screen and you can see. No, I've got 1, 2, 3, 460, 70, maybe 500,000 is invested.
So
and also
all of that is invested. Okay, got you.
Is in inventory, right?
what
And
did
I've
you
and I've and I've only got, as far as available cash right now, um, I can go to the select currency screen and see that,
Mhm.
which is I think 200,000 still. Select currency, exchange preferences. You just click on that and it shows you here's my account value right now. That's cash plus inventory, and so I've got $197,000 of USDC cash sitting there doing nothing. So
So,
100,000 of it is 100,000 is being used here to trade with 20, 40, 60, 60, about 100. And then over here in my save bucket,
so only 100,000 is making that $4,000, what you're showing, right?
the other 100,000 is in my save bucket.
Exactly. So your 437 value is 200K is probably your USDC, 100K
Yeah.
is being played, and your 30-day profit has been 23, 30, 22 out
You can
of
just see the
the.
market value. My shares are worth this much right here. 40, 50, 60, 70, 120, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 90, about 200 grand.
I want to make
It's
sure
my
that
inventory.
yeah, I want to make sure you understand though that in
And the
order
other
to
200 bill is in cash.
to
Okay.
have the 200K in inventory, Ed, you have to also have it's not going to put all the money to work, so you have to have another 100 or whatever you have in reserve. You can't just
Yes.
say got
Well,
200 in
that's a
there.
well-seasoned auto trader.
Yeah.
Francine, that's what I mean by a well-seasoned auto trader. You're not gonna get 22 lots of ACH overnight. That's why I try to tell people who don't have an account that are waiting, because so many people are waiting for the market to go up. And I'm like, man, by the time you wait, if you're waiting for the market to go up, and then you're just going to jump in, you don't own anything. Again, you're back to that same example where you only have one bag of potato chips on the shelf. You want to use times like this to be building inventory. A well-seasoned auto trader has a lot of inventory. You see all this? 22 lots of that one, 20 lots of that one, 35 lots of that one. This auto trader is gold, man. This is a well-seasoned auto trader. It's been running for a couple years, 2.5 years, little over 2.5 years. So it's got all this beautiful inventory that every time the market moves, I clean up. You can't, I always try to tell people, you can't own enough inventory, especially in the crypto market. When the whales own all the shares out there, and most of the public's out of it, which is telling you, man, this thing's gonna go to the moon. Watch when they really let it go. Like I said, 4 years of down market, watch what happens when it turns into an up market. And you sell all that inventory off at beautiful profits.
But
Yeah.
You
they
got to get started. I'm not a salesman. I don't know if you even own. I know you own an auto trader because you're talking about it, right? But anyone who doesn't own an auto trader needs to just get on board so that your auto trader can start building inventory at the right prices.
So the 23, 22 that you're showing is what you made in last 30 days as profits taken only, right? So this is what you have exited out from the positions, and this has been accumulated in your profits, like your
Oh
in your
yeah,
current profit saved, right?
I've blown. Like I said, I bought a $200,000 Range Rover last year. On top of this 100,000, I'm still
No, no, no,
sitting
no.
on
You're not
cash.
answering my question. I'm saying that 23, 22 is you still have positions making profit, right? You
Oh
still
right. Oh
have.
yeah, that's the last 30
So
days.
you've taken out 23, 22, 50 out of it and put that into your current profit saved bucket, right?
Yes. In the
Okay.
last 30
So
days, this went down here.
got you. So what is it that currently is since 7th of October, how much have you made total that you have not taken profit out, but it's still making profit? I don't know if you're understanding my question.
You
I
don't know
don't.
what I don't know what you're saying.
See, all I'm saying is you're saying that you made 2322.50. That money has been pulled out from the market and it's sitting in your current profit saved bucket, right? You agree?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now you also have since that date, 7th of October, have been making profits and you have not taken profit yet out of it. You have either it's either
That
still playing.
2322 is all.
So 23, 22 is all what you made since that time frame taken out
Yeah.
completely.
If
So
you
there's
go down
nothing,
here,
there's no more profit left to be realized. That's what you're saying.
right.
Okay. Okay.
It's the
All
Yeah.
right.
period.
You can see down here. If I go down here, this says from 10/7, October 7. if I go down here to October 7, right here, from October 7, which is 1 month, and add up that,
All the profits taken, that number would be 2322. That's what you're saying.
all the profits taken. If I go up higher and all those that you see, all that, if you
Yep.
add all that up, that's exactly to the penny that much.
Yeah. So you made
Physical profits
1%.
taken, and
You made you.
that's after commissions, after
Yep.
broker commissions.
Completely agree. So with your 200K, you're making 1% in that month. I can say that way, you know.
Yeah, you could say it was a slow month. It was
Yeah, yeah, of
definitely a
course.
slow month.
Every month is not going to be sunshine.
Oh,
There'll be.
I've had 10% months, I had 20% months. It's all that's what I say about the crypto market. That's what I love about it. It's so much better than the stock market. It's the Wild West.
And
These
you
coins
can
are
have negative
jumping
months.
around.
You may also have negative months, right?
I
No.
never what does that mean? There's
There.
never a month where I didn't take profits, but there are months where the prices have gone down faster than the profits were taken.
Okay.
Never sell a losing position. They just remain in inventory, P-Shaw. And he
Got you.
doesn't
Got
have
you.
a
Okay.
operator yet, Ed. So he's
Like this month, the
I know.
coins might have dropped 5 or 6 or 7%,
Yeah.
but I've only taken 1% in profits. So that means that means my account value might have dropped 5% in value. But it's okay because that's just a number
All
that
right.
goes up and down. That's
I'll
just this
stop. I'll
open.
stop. Someone's getting a little bit angsty about me asking questions. So I'm gonna stop. Okay. I'm just trying to clarify something before I take the
No,
plunge.
nobody is.
Yeah.
Who?
No, Karen just wrote time for someone else to ask a question. That's fine.
Well, we're
Oh, I
two and a
didn't
half.
see that. I'm not looking at the questions.
It's
In
all
any
good.
case, it's just numbers going up and down. Everything else
My
is.
only thing is, Karen, aren't you getting value out of this? Like these questions are just
No,
getting.
Karen's a current user as well, and I know you are doing your final due diligence, which is completely understandable. These are great questions for everybody to hear.
Well, it's
For
going to
sure.
grind money out forever. That's all I know until I die. And then it's going to keep going unless somebody tells somebody that I died. The trader's going to keep trading on the servers.
Well, then you have Steven.
Oh, so that's a good topic actually. Let me say something. Every one of you who own an account should make sure you have someone else in your family that you trust that can walk up to the computer and log into your Coinbase account or your Kraken account. Make sure of that. Make sure they can just walk up and do the login. Because I know when I'm helping people, a lot of people have trouble logging into Coinbase themselves. And I'm like, if you're having this much trouble, it's taking you an hour to log into your Coinbase account. How's your wife doing or your husband doing? Or your kids? Can anybody else log into that account? Because if anything happens to you, that money's, I don't know what's going to happen to the money in Coinbase. I don't know what are they gonna do? Is Coinbase gonna let some stranger in? You're better off making sure that somebody else can log into that account.
Yep, 100%. So,
And we
and
do a lot of stuff here. We really talk about life and stuff like that,
that's good.
really, no, really, I don't want to, I said the same thing. I used to have a cold storage device that you plug into the side, a trade ledger, I think it was called, and a trade wallet, some device. And I bought two of them. And I programmed them both to be able to access the Shiba Inu that I had in there. This is before I automated the market, and I bought some SHIB, and I put them on that device. And I put one of the devices in the safe, and I had one on my keychain. And I said, okay, in case something goes wrong with one of them, I got a backup, right? One day it wouldn't let me log in. It literally it didn't let me log in. Nothing I could do. Even the keywords or the seed words, the 15 words, whatever, it didn't even work. So I go to the safe, pull out the backup, stuck it in my computer, logged me right in. Soon as it logged me in, man, I transferred those coins to Coinbase. I said, I'm done. I'm done with these devices. You know what the funny thing is when I tell that story, sometimes somebody else online says, can I buy those from you? I'm like, no, I don't know what's on these things. You may be able to get at my coins. I'll smash them with a hammer before I sell them. But they're both sitting in my drawer. I should just smash them with a hammer and throw them away, but I don't know why I don't.
Well, I
But
want to thank
anyways,
everybody
make
for the
sure somebody
questions.
else can log in.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Ed. And thank
Because
you,
I can't
Amit.
help you. I can help anybody, your loved one log into your GoBabyTrade, but we don't have your coins or your cash. That's just it's in Coinbase or Kraken, and they're not gonna they won't let I can't talk to them. They don't want to hear from anything from me.
And Amit, these are questions that, everybody asks me offline and that people think about. So I'm glad you verbalized it because Ed is responsible for a lot of people's retirement funds with GoBabyTrade as well. I know you've said we have
Oh man,
seven-figure
I've had
accounts.
so many
He takes
people
it
through the
very serious.
years.
Thank you.
I've
Thank
had
you.
so many people through the years say, Ed, every dollar I own is in your trading systems, and and so I know I know that some people literally live off their auto traders, and take money out. I personally do. I'm one of those people. I just take money out it's like free money. I got the Coinbase Visa card, and every time I use it, I go, the card that keeps on giving. It's just free money because I can't, how much am I going to spend going to grocery stores? Am I going to spend that 2,300 this month, and then next month it'll be 8,000? Then what? Am I going to spend that? You know, it's just you can't even spend it anymore. The amount of money that this thing just keeps making automatically, and this is only one of four traders.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good stuff. Thank you so much, Ed. We're really grateful for you and really appreciate your
Cool.
time. We're at 2.5 hours. This is the longest one.
Thank
Ever.
you.
Yeah. And well, at least for me, I know you can talk for even longer, but I'm gonna wrap up
I
for
did
everybody.
it.
Yeah.
I did a 3.5 hour one the other day.
Oh my goodness. So you guys, I posted the discount link in the chat. I posted my number there too. We have a great WhatsApp community. So Amit and anybody else kicking tires are welcome to join in there with our current users, my private community there, and hear about their experiences, ask your questions. It's a great way to take a deeper dive. And yeah, reach out with any other questions. Happy to help. I'll get you personally connected. We'll get on a call and Zoom together. It won't take long at all. It's super simple. And we'll get it done. So thank you
Yeah,
again, Ed.
you've been wonderful, Francine. I've known you for over a year, and you help so many people. Thank you.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
get emails, and Francine helps you. We go live, we help you go live, connect to your Coinbase account. And by default, the strategy is already set. It even gives you 3 top coins that a lot of people are trading that are, that I'm trading and a lot of others are trading. I mentioned those earlier. And yeah, it's just, you know,
Easy.
I appreciate everything you've been doing, Francine, and letting me talk to your community. I appreciate that too. Thank you so much.
I trust you a ton, and I just really value what you've brought to us here. So thank you so much for your time today, Ed, and thanks everybody that hung in there as well. And hopefully we all learned something, and just grateful. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and reach out if I can help at all. And I'll see you
All
next
right.
time.
Hey, Glenn, I didn't see you earlier. When did you pop in late?
Popped in late. The very.
All right. I missed you.
All right,
Hey,
guys.
Lorraine.
Talk to you soon.
All right. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.